Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskritya
Narayanam Namaskritya
Narottamam
Narayam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Tadayamudidaya
Tato Devamudidaya
Ashtabheshu Abhadreshu
Nashtaprayesu Adreshu
Bhagavate Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavate Sevaya
Bhagavate Uttama Shloke
Bhagavate Uttama Shloke
Bhakti Nastute.
Bhakti Bhagavate Naistiki.
Continuing, Canto 3, the status quo. Chapter 9, Brahma's praise for creative energy. Text 8. Shutritridatu Virimamuradyamanaha Sitošnavata Varasaritaritra
Sitošnavata Varasaritaritra
Kamadvinachyutarusacha Sudurvarena
Kamadvinachyutarusacha
Sampasyato Manavurukramasiddhate me
Sampasyato Manavurukramasiddhate.
O great actor, my Lord, all these poor creatures are constantly perplexed by hunger, thirst, severe cold, secretion and bile, attacked by coughing winter, blasting summer, rains and many other disturbing elements, and overwhelmed by strong sex urges and indefatigable anger. I take pity on them and I'm very much aggrieved for them. So Brahma is describing practically what we are going through nowadays. This is at the beginning of the creation after a dissolution. So, and you can see his mood. He's pitiful. He feels pity towards the conditioned living entities. This is the mood of the devotees, actually. And you can see also at the same time, in Kali Yuga, particularly in Kali Yuga, people are overwhelmed by sensual desires and are entangled and controlled by illusion. A lot of illusion. And in the Prabhupada says, so much types of difficulties and disturbance are there that affects people. So they don't know what to do about it. How to relieve the difficulties, how to relieve people from suffering. And so a lot of these intelligent people among them, they take the role of leaders. And they want to give them a solution, which you can see now, right? No solution. And Prabhupada says the unfortunate followers are put into further disadvantages under such so-called leadership. So that's what you'll find. And then Prabhupada makes a very, very important point. This is like a blind man leading another blind man to fall into a ditch. So someone's blind and all are holding each other. And the first guy falls in, everyone will follow. There's no hope. It's very important. So we shouldn't blindly accept certain things. We should think about it, question it. And if everything is satisfied, then we can make decisions on it. So the difference is a devotee is more concerned in a person's connection with the Supreme Lord. He's more interested in how to connect people back to Krishna. They're not interested in taking advantage of the suffering of other people. Whereas nowadays, people are always trying to take advantage of the suffering of others. Therefore, they are unhappy and always suffering. So Brahma says he pities such living entities and he can't look at them that way. So he wants to help them. Text 9. Yava pritaktvam indriyata
Yavat pritaktvam indriyartha
Maya balam bhagavato janaisha pasyet
Maya balam bhagavato janaisha pasye
Tavana samstritir asau pratishankrameta
Tavan vasamsritirasau pratishankrameta
Vyarta piduka nivaham vahati kriyarta
Vyarthapi dukkha nivaham vahati kriyartha
O my Lord, the material miseries are without factual existence for the soul. Yet as long as the conditioned soul sees the body as meant for sense enjoyment, it cannot get out of the entanglement of material miseries being influenced by your external energy. So, as long as you are identifying with the body, you are not going to be free from the suffering, the material miseries. Not possible. Brahma is saying that. So if you use the body for the service of Krishna, then you are free or you can be liberated. But if you use the body for sense enjoyment, definitely, Brahma is saying here, definitely you will suffer miseries. Because you can't go against Krishna's external energy independently. Not possible. Devi Shugunamai, Mamamai, Duritya. Very difficult. Not possible. But if he takes up devotional service or tries to please the Lord, then he won't suffer the miseries. So that is in this verse, text 10. Ani apritartha karana nishinishayana Nana manoratha diyakshana bhagna nigraha
Nara manoratha diyakshana bhagna nigraha
Daiva hatartha rachana rishayopi deva
Daiva hatartha rachana rishayopi deva
Yusmat prasanga vimukha iha samsaranti
Yasmat prasanga vimukha samsaranti
Such non-devotees engage their senses in very troublesome and extensive work. And they suffer insomnia at night because their intelligence constantly breaks their sleep with various mental speculations. They are frustrated in all their various plans by supernatural power. Even great sages, if they are against your transcendental topics, must rotate in this material world. Rotate means taking birth again. So you can see, which is again what Brahma is saying. Well, he knows, he's intelligent, he can see. If we are always engaging our senses for our own enjoyment, then it's troublesome, ultimately. And not only that, so much effort is required to just to have a little bit of enjoyment. And then you make so many plans, right? How to get millions and millions of dollars. The CEOs, they want big money and so on. So I was reading the other day, I think it was Switzerland, I think they had some kind of election to say they want to cap the ceiling maximum of the pay for the CEOs. They shouldn't earn more than that. And cap it, So like maybe 100 times the lowest pay, like that, something like that. So then they had this referenda to vote, and so then it didn't go through. Most people didn't accept that. So you can see everybody wants to make more money as much as they don't know how to be satisfied. So therefore they suffer. how to make more money. They think. Even when they are sleeping, they are thinking. So in the middle of the night, they get up and say, "Oh, maybe this way is good."
Actually, there is a phrase I hear, especially some of the executives
Yeah.
in the sales meetings. They say, "So what keeps me up at night is this," and then they talk about something, we have to do in the company like this, like that. So, but the general nowadays the phrase is, "What keeps you up at night?"
Yeah.
It's like this problem
Yeah,
that we have to solve.
you can see that.
I think you should be up at night.
And when I heard it, I was like, why should I keep me up at night? But they talk like that, in a very passionate way, like the
They want to tell people that they are
top execs,
for
they
the
talk like
company. Basically, they're trying to say they are worried about the company.
Yeah.
So it's all
And
nonsense.
it's the Indians, you can see, I can see, it's
Yeah.
basically they've
It's all
adapted it
bogus.
from all the Western. The Indian big executive now, the way it's saying like that.
So it's like, yasya company dase, karmana manasani.
Because they come in or close the door.
So you're cold.
So why would I want to get cold? That's the point.
You're looking cold too.
Yeah, I'm not feeling well. No? That's why I don't want to. Alright, so in the purport, Prabhupada says most of them engage during the daytime in hard physical labor. Generally, 90% of. So if you don't believe, you go to China, most of our products that you are using is made from China. 90%. So they do a lot of physical labor, and in their country they only have problems. They can't even walk outside the country. So much pollution. It's like fog. I've seen it myself. It's like fog. And the pollution is like a fog. And you cannot even see sometimes. And a couple of weeks ago in China, they stopped schooling in Shanghai for a few days because of the pollution. Yeah. It's okay, nobody can go out. It was that thick.
But they're trying to showcase Shanghai as like a world class city.
Yeah, but what can you do when all this pollution comes? You know why? Because here it says they are frustrated in all their various plans by supernatural power.
I don't know if it's in China or Japan. They're buying the air.
In
There
Japan.
are air stations where they go in and breathe fresh air. Because
Oxygen
outside
bar.
it is- Yeah,
They call it an
carbons
oxygen bar.
Yeah, that's in Japan.
in Japan.
Prabhupada then writes, their senses are engaged very extensively in troublesome duties in the gigantic plants of heavy industrial enterprise. You can see how much they are suffering. The owners of such factories are engaged in finding a market for their industrial products. And the laborers are engaged in extensive production involving huge mechanical arrangements. Factory is another name for hell. Prabhupada says that.
Yeah. Nowadays it's a software guy.
It's still hell.
It's IT.
The China factory in China.
Yeah. At night, hellishly engaged persons take advantage of wine and women to satisfy their tired senses. But they are not even able to have sound sleep because their various mental speculative plans constantly interrupt their sleep. Because they suffer from insomnia, sometimes they feel sleepy in the morning for lack of sufficient rest. By the arrangement of supernatural power, even the great scientists and thinkers of the world suffer a frustration of their various plans and thus rot in the material world birth after birth. This is exactly what's happening nowadays. This is Kali Yuga. Then in the next paragraph, Prabhupada writes, this verse particularly mentions that even sages who are averse to the principles of devotional service to the Lord are also condemned to undergo the terms of material existence. So even if you are very elevated sage, it doesn't matter. If you don't follow devotional principles, you are also condemned in the cycle. Not only in this age, but formerly also there were many sages who tried to invent their own systems of religion without reference to devotional service to the Supreme Lord. But there cannot be any religious principle without devotional service to the Lord. Right? You can see all the Kannada, Gautam, all these different philosophies based on, I think Kannada was on atomic theory like that, right? Yeah. So, and then the atheist Kapila, all this, they come up with their own philosophy. You get stuck. You have to take birth. You may be a great scholar. You can see, right, nowadays people, even Western philosophers, they're very good in speaking, very amazing, but they don't have any understanding of how to go back to God. They cannot give you sadhana bhakti because they don't have sadhana. Who has a process, a well-documented process for enhancing your consciousness? You can't find that in any other philosophies. They can talk nicely, but this is how you do it. But they can't tell you how to do it. What you have to give up, the do's and don'ts. Right? Even it's true, some of these the famous religion, they just accept, finish. That's it. But how to please the Lord and all, they don't have. So sadhana bhakti is not there. So therefore, you can be what kind, no matter how powerful you are as a sage, if you cannot link up with the devotional process of the Lord, you are useless also. So you have to take birth in this cycle of birth and death. Okay.
Madhvacharya had analyzed totally, there are totally 16 philosophical systems, starting from atheism, Charvaka philosophy, to analyzed all the philosophy in a book, written in a book, Sarva Darshana Sangraha.
Oh, Sarva Darshana. Okay.
Sarva Darshana Sangraha.
So, yeah, so
similar to Jaiva
yeah, Mother Chandra is telling us about Madhvacharya, 16 darshans, right, on different philosophies. So if you are interested, you can read
So
it.
nothing is new in Western world, whatever you see, it's all copy
Yeah,
of
all of them already documented. There's nothing new in this world. You can't create anything different because it's already within this universe. So you only has to fall within all these rules. Cannot go out of it. Now from verse 6 to 10, we were reading about all those people who cannot or not able to accept the Lord's lotus feet. They are, in a way, they are against him, or they are more interested in their sense enjoyment. Now we go on to text 11. From Bhakti Yoga Paribhavitaret Saroja Asye Sutekshita Pato Nanunata Pumsan Yadyadhyata Urudaya Vibhavayanti Nattadvapu Pranayase Sadanugrahaya O my Lord, your devotees can see you through the years by the process of bona fide hearing, and thus their hearts become cleansed. When you take your seat there, you are so merciful to your devotees that you manifest yourself in the particular eternal form of transcendence in which they always think of you. So this is a very nice description again. The devotees can see you through the years by the process of one another. So by hearing, you can see. You don't have to see him like I have to see with my eyes. Yeah, you can see with your eyes, but that you need to get purified. Premanjali Churita Bhakti Vilocani, Santasada Varidayi, Vilokayanti Yam Shama Sundaram Machincha Vimaswami. So there already in the Brahma Samhita it says one has to have the love in your heart, then your eyes will have the right ointment to see properly. So how to do that? It's again process of hearing and chanting, devotional service again. Shravanam Kirtan. So by hearing, you purify your heart. Hearts become cleansed and you take your seat there. So once the heart becomes purified, the Lord actually sits in a throne in your heart. Right? So in the first, all those cobwebs must be got rid. And then he will come and sit there. And in the second sentence, he says, you are so merciful to your devotees that you manifest yourself in a particular eternal form of transcendence. So remember earlier when he meditated on Krishna, Krishna showed him his cowherd boy form. So basically, according to your relationship, rasa, the Lord will reveal in your heart that what is your rasa with me, like that. Yeah. Okay. All right. So in this particular verse, there is a word called Shruti Kshita. So Prabhupada said the Shruti Kshita part is to hear from bona fide devotees who are conversant with Vedic wisdom. So that's what we are trying to do also. We are hearing from Srila Prabhupada. We are hearing from his disciples who have been trained. And we hear from his grand disciples also who are also trained. In fact, we hear among ourselves. Right? Everyone reads and sometimes shares and so okay. So we are trying to follow in the bona fide way, not speculative way. Free from mundane sentiment. So sometimes mundane sentiment is very strong. Some people are religious, but they are sentimental. Not based on proper understanding of the philosophy. They have that ability, softness in the heart to accept the Lord, but they don't understand the philosophy sometimes. And they just, and then they start crying, emotional about the whole thing. But truly, they don't think, I have to do it seriously to get out of this material world. I shouldn't be attached. No. They have same thing, their family, their career, everything is there, and still they are sentimental. So those things are there also. Hmm? Right?
We have some of that too, but we can see.
You can see, right? Based on when we discuss, you can see, yeah, I'm also like that. So I need to cut back on this a little bit. Not to become sentimental too much. Sentiment should be there. Devotional service means it's not just hard-heartedness. There is real emotions, but not become sentimental about it. By this bona fide hearing process, the neophyte devotee becomes cleansed of all material rubbish. So neophyte means new devotee. So when we are new, we have so many different philosophies or understanding. We accept this must be the way. Then when we hear, we tend to disagree in our hearts. I don't believe that. That's neophyte. It's true, right? When we first come, well, maybe, I don't know, maybe it doesn't apply to me like that. But with always good association, hearing the philosophy in submission, that means you respect the person who's speaking, then you get cleansed of this contamination. This is a contamination. Contamination is based on our ego. Ahankara vayumatma kartam iti maniti. Right? So it makes us think we are the doers. Lakshmi is here. We are all bestowed by her opulence. And thus he becomes attached to one of the many transcendental forms of love. So you can see, in the beginning they don't know, then later on, over the years, they like some aspects of the Lord, right? Or I really like this pastime, or I like the Lord in Udupi, or I like the Lord in Vrindavan, Chamasundar, or I like Madhava in Mayapur. You can see. So the heart is getting attracted because it's getting purified. That's what. When you hear someone say, "I like something," then you should understand this devotee is making advancement, and you should feel bad that you are not making advancement. No, it's like that. That's how
But
process.
it should not be encouraged.
Yeah. So in that sense, you are feeling humility actually, which is what Brahma is feeling, right? Why would he feel pity for those people if he is not humble? Right? The same way in our preaching also. We can't do it actually. All of us, we can all go together and work together as a team and we can get some result. But individually, we actually can't do it. Even if you are appointed to do something, we are not the doers. Just like Brahma is creating, right? Is he really creating? No, he's not. Because There is Sarga and Visarga. Sarga is a real creation. Visarga is putting things where it's meant to go in place. Yeah. Everything's created. Living entities are created. That's the main ingredient. he's just an architect or an engineer. Builder the worlds and the universe. So he has that Shakti, very powerful Shakti to build all this. It's inconceivable how he does. And the bodies also. Each individual Devatas, one body, Apsaras, and then this person, that person, Nagas, all those things.
We can't even figure out one body.
Yeah, we can't even figure out how to do what is wrong with the body.
I don't do a grass.
So he is that kind of intelligence he has. So it's very, very.
For him also all the blueprint is given. He
Yeah.
just
Remember, the Virat Rupa is within the flower, the lotus, and then he accepts it. So he is able to use that. As we go on, you see how the Lord empowers him.
You made that comment about so like that advice you said. So if somebody is devotee, we hear from another devotee, he likes something.
Yeah.
Now that's so we understand that he is getting more purified. Now our reaction could be that we could just be neutral, we could be happy for him, but you also knowing that he is purified. At the same time, we said we also need to understand that I'm not getting that purified. So at that time, I've seen sometimes it can happen either I may not take it that way, that I'm not getting purified. And either it's unconsciously I'm not thinking about it, or maybe consciously I don't want to think like that because I don't want to feel lower. But the right thing, as you're saying, the right thing, as you're saying, a lot of times can be newer people than us, or our peers are newer than us.
Yes.
So, but you're saying the right thing is to notice that I am not feeling that, he's feeling that's wonderful, and feel that humility, but that's doesn't come very naturally. We have to naturally it may not come.
Naturally it won't come because you have to practice first. You have to practice, right? What did Brahma do for 1,000 years, right? He's practicing austerity. So because he practiced it to meet the Lord, it was considered devotional service by the Lord. And therefore he got the audience of it. So same way, you understand, man, I'm not feeling that I should, So then the fact that you think like that, the moment you think like that means you're making advancement. So then you should go back and pray to the Lord and say, look, I really can't understand. That's humility.
Yeah.
But I'm going to just do what my guru and my authorities tell. You please drag me back to Godhead. Somehow. You have to think like that. Otherwise, how are you going to go back to Godhead? Very few of us will go back to Godhead if we are not going to think like that.
Yeah.
If we think we are very capable, most of us think like that, then it's very hard to go back to God.
What I have seen personally, I feel that way. Either I don't explicitly, either I might think that maybe it will just happen, or I just don't give it that importance. So
No, exactly. Because
either
why do you
it
not?
will just happen anyways.
Why you don't give importance is because you are proud. That's exactly our position. We are very proud.
Yeah.
So when someone shows some kind of things, we should cultivate the kind of thought process where we think, this person is so fortunate. He already is feeling joy with the Lord's features, Archa Vigraha. No, Lord, what is wrong with me? Why I can't feel that way? That's the way you should think.
If
So-
you think like that, we will be so dejected that we won't take
Yeah,
it.
see, that's the thing.
No. That
Sometimes
is
you
the
will feel-
modern philosophy
Yeah.
where they teach you to think everything I can do, I can conquer. No, actually, this is humility. Humility doesn't mean you are drop on the floor and say, I can't do anything.
That is ignorance.
That is in the Tamaguna. That's not what we are saying. You do your best, but you know I'm doing my best for you, Lord. But I can't feel this. You help me. What is wrong with that? Because I know the process works because this person is happy.
Process works.
Yeah, it works. This person is seeing it, therefore it works. So I also have to do it. So you help me. Something is blocking my heart.
But
Right?
that doesn't
So much
mean I
knowledge.
should feel so dejected. Like this is
Why we're not talking about so dejected.
Yeah.
We're talking about you
Yeah.
should at least consider why I'm not making it.
Yeah.
So you should check your process. What is wrong with your process? The sadhana bhakti process should bring you
Yeah.
to the point
Yeah.
of raga bhakti. So if it's not, then there's something you're missing.
Yeah.
That's what I heard. If it doesn't produce enthusiasm
Yes.
to do service more, then it is not humility.
Yes.
It becomes depression. If it produces depression, it is not humility.
No, it shouldn't be depressing.
So that's one
By
good symptom.
Yeah, by humility, you really understand that this is my position. Now I have to endeavor with enthusiasm to progress. So it should produce.
You should be happy.
Yeah.
You should feel I'm so fortunate that I'm
Wow, I
able to
discovered this thing.
chant. At least I can chant.
Yeah. That's good.
So many people can't chant. I am so fortunate, and then you can be happy. Or before you sleep, you say, Lord, thank you so much for keeping me under your shelter. These are all gratefulness.
Can you also think that, wow, I was able to, this thing was shown to me, so now I can, do
Yeah.
something about it and move
Yeah.
on.
You
It's
should
good-
just
it's
thank the
gonna
Lord.
help me.
Yeah, thank the Lord. Like,
This idea, it's an important topic to somewhat know more about it because there is just because of maybe the modern way it is, we're so accustomed to that.
yeah,
When
it's
we think
conditioning.
about
huh?
humility, what's the right way, right symptom?
In the modern system, humility is taken to be a negative quality.
Yeah. So how is it a positive quality which pushes you up? It's an important.
It's something only in devotional practice we find.
Yeah.
Because humility is in relation to the Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in relation to the Lord means how I'm willing to do for the Lord and for His servants. That I don't put myself in the center. That's humility.
So I heard that humility only develops in a grateful heart. So first
In
we
a grateful heart. That's right.
And we develop gratitude,
Yeah.
then humility develops.
Yeah, when you are very thankful, and then what is humility? I actually cannot do anything. That is real. That's humility.
Yeah.
So when you are out book distribution or preaching, even giving a sapta in some home, still you're not the one who's doing. You're doing on behalf of Srila Prabhupada, and you should think I cannot really, give the full purport. I'm not an acharya, but I'll say what I can. And that humility is what Krishna is looking for. And you'll find sometimes you may not say much, but people appreciate what you say.
Yeah.
Because they appreciate your humility and the qualities they see. Not so much as, oh, you big, expose of the Lord's intricate pastime or whatever. That's not the real purport. It's really showing them that we believe that this works. I want to give you because I feel that you also should share in this wonderful adventure that we are going through. So that way people will appreciate what we are saying.
Yeah.
That's humility. Humility is very attractive actually.
Very, very good.
I like Prabhupada, very humble person. He never claimed anything.
So Prabhu, one more, I was remembering that point, bona fide hearing process, like Prabhu was saying, even he is giving opportunity by talking in Bombay and Hindi lecture, like you don't have to bring anything, you don't have to qualify, you just come and sit and hear. You don't need anything big class, you have to bring anything. Or you have
Yeah,
to
because
bring big
Prabhupada is
He was
qualified to
stressing
help.
so much on that bona fide hearing, you just come and sit, you can see God.
Yeah. You'll get a lot of people ask you, have you seen God? Have you seen God? So many will ask you. They'll challenge you. Huh?
So the pages of Bhagavatam.
Yeah, pages of Bhagavatam. Or truly, if you want to see even the Archa Vigraha, but they can't accept that. Continuing, Prabhupada writes, this attachment of the devotee to a particular form of the Lord is due to natural inclination. Each and every living entity is originally attached to a particular type of transcendental service because he is eternally the servitor of the Lord. So we all have a particular service with the Lord, and that's going to be what's going to come out when we do this sadhana bhakti intensely and with determination. Lord Chaitanya says that the living entity is eternally a servitor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Therefore, every living entity has a particular type of service relationship with the Lord eternally. This particular attachment is invoked by the practice of regulative devotional service to the Lord. And thus the devotee becomes attached to the eternal form of the Lord, exactly like one who is already eternally attached. This attachment for a particular form of the Lord is called Swarupa Siddhi. The Lord sits on the lotus heart of the devotee in the eternal form the pure devotee desires. And thus the Lord does not part from the devotee, as confirmed in the previous verse. Because the Lord is always in the heart anyway. The Lord, however, does not disclose himself to a casual or unauthentic worshipper to be exploited. He only reveals to if you are sincere. If you are not, he's there in the heart, but he won't reveal. So therefore, Prabhupada quotes the verse, Naham prakasha sarvasu yoga maya samavita. So if you are sense gratifier, then he is not going to show himself. But if you give up your senses for him, then he is attracted to you, so he shows himself. So we can see here how the Lord is reciprocating with the devotee. So text 11, 12 and 13 discusses this reciprocation. Text 12. Nati prasidati tatopachitopachare.
Nati prasidati tatopachitopachare.
Aradita suraganari vibadda kamai.
Aradita suraganai vidivadda kamai.
Yat sarvabhuta dayaya saralavyayiko.
Yat sarvabhuta dayaya saralavyayiko.
Nana Ganeshwavahita Suvedantaratma.
Nana Ganeshwavahita
Translation. My Lord, you are not very much satisfied by the worship of the demigods, who arrange for your worship very pompously with various paraphernalia, but who are full of material hankerings. You're situated in everyone's heart as a supersoul just to show your causeless mercy, and you are the eternal well-wisher, but you are unavailable for the non-devotee. So again, how he reciprocates. He's not really into people giving big, pompous worship when they are not really interested in having a relationship with the Lord. Right? Sometimes,
Same as us, no?
well, it is.
Yeah.
This thing in the heart to enjoy is very strong. We all want to enjoy strong. So then we want to enjoy it in different ways, sometimes in subtle ways also. So we may sponsor the entire Janmastic feast, but we want everyone to know we did it. Like that. So, but we are not thinking of actually serving the Lord in that sense. So that is, pompous means very joyfully, greatly. So he's not interested in all that thing. Right? Remember when that devotee in Chaitanya Leela, Sridhar, right? Colin Sridhar, right? All he had was a little banana leaf cups he was making. And the Lord appreciated that exchange with him. So much more than anything in the whole world.
3 hours every day.
Huh?
3 hours
3
every
hours he
day.
went there to
Bargaining.
not only bargain, take things from him extra, steal, accuse him.
Cheated.
And then also ask him to give something. I'm hungry, drink water, eat something. So he would give everything. So that's what he wants. He wants that loving relationship more than whatever we have, like we want to show off. He's not interested in those things at all. So he says, the Lord is not satisfied with that. Not very satisfied. He's okay, all right. The demigods want to do some great worship, it's okay. But he knows why they're doing it. right? Like Indra will come and worship him. Next time Indra will go and do some nonsense, or something, right? We've had like that. I mean, not that Indra is a bad person. It's just that that's how the pastimes are, and we can understand. When one who is more into his own sense gratification, it's very difficult to serve the senses of the Supreme Lord. Remember, Sarva Ubadi Vinirmuktam Tattvaram Nirmalam Vishikena Vishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ucchate. So that is the basis. Our devotional service must be to please the senses of the Lord, and by pleasing the senses of the Lord, our senses become calmed down. Actually,
Calm
huh?
down. Our senses calm down.
Calm down, yeah.
Serpent removed fatigue.
The serpent's fangs has been removed, so that's how it is. So,
Our sense also satisfied.
Similar to the Rupa Goswami said, I'm hearing the name so many times. It's like I need thousands of years.
Oh, yeah,
but
yeah,
then he
thousands.
says my mind and my senses become inert.
yeah, I wish I had thousands and millions of times.
My senses become inert.
So that's what the goal is when you are performing sadhana bhakti. You come to the point where you want to constantly hear about the Lord, do service for the Lord. That is the goal of sadhana bhakti. To come to the point of constant service and constant hearing about the Lord. So, but he doesn't mind if people are going to do on his behalf, big pompous celebration, because he's going to reward them some material happiness. That's all. But to get his prema, it's not going to be easy, because he's not satisfied with that kind of worship. Real worship is when they are surrendered to him completely.
Is everything Prabhu is from Bhagavad Gita or Brahma Samhita? Like each and every point almost.
Almost, yeah. It's like
One Bhagavad Gita verse or Brahma Samhita verse.
Yeah.
Exactly everything.
So therefore, the purports are very, very valuable, very powerful. He can liberate us. Yeah. Prabhupada says the Lord does not want any of his innumerable sons, the living, and to remain in the material world of threefold miseries, to perpetually suffer the material pangs of birth, death, old age, and disease. And he says that demigods in the heavenly planets and many devotees on this planet also want to remain in the material world as devotees of the Lord and take advantage of material happiness. So it's very obvious here. Prabhupada says we shouldn't be like that. Even though we are devotees, right? We also, okay, I'm now a devotee, so okay. Now I can continue with my material life.
The last time you mentioned when you came in, that stayed with me, that when we do devotional service, our lives will become more peaceful. So then we feel happy in that.
Yeah, you become more
So that
sattvic,
mode of goodness.
more of
Then
goodness.
we enjoy that.
Then you say, oh, I'm very spiritual.
Yeah.
But actually, you're only in the sattva guna, that's all. Then Prabhupada says this is not good. Why? Because if you do that, they do so at a risk of falling down to the lower status of existence. And this makes the Lord dissatisfied with them.
How do we keep a check then that we are not getting in the circle or just
Okay, to keep a check, you need someone to always be your authority to tell you, okay, do this, do that, on a daily basis if it's possible. But most of us arrange our life such a way that we don't have any gurus to tell us anything. It's a fact, no?
So the question is, how do we identify that we are not is a Sarvaguna, but we are actually doing this?
Yeah, I told you, you need many Siksha gurus.
Yeah, because Diksha Guru is like we all of us would meet like once in a year.
No, the problem is you only consider your Diksha guru is the only one who can tell you.
Yeah, that's a problem.
But actually, that shouldn't be the case. Anyone who is your well-wisher, who tells you something you should improve, then you should take it like Krishna is speaking through them like that. And then you will make the changes. Because you accept that statement, then you make the changes. But if you don't accept anyone to tell you, say, who is he, or who is she to tell you, then it doesn't work anymore. Then there's a risk of falling down or remaining status quo. No change, as it is, as it stands.
Devotional, there is no status quo.
Yeah, in devotional life, it shouldn't be status quo. It should be erratic.
But to me, it almost seems like I can see when if somebody tells you something, what's my immediate reaction that reveals to me where I am. Because I
Yeah,
see
if you can
sometimes
identify,
there is a resistance. That means that's where I am, right?
so if you can identify, you feel that way, then you need to do something about it.
Yeah, another example we also give, like you're traveling uphill. If you're not going ahead, that means you're going down.
Yeah. Maybe slipping back if your handbrakes are not working.
So it doesn't get revealed till the situation comes. That's my.
Well, that's the other thing.
Sometimes,
Okay,
unless we are
all right.
introspective, very much introspective,
Generally,
doesn't get-
if you're a sincere devotee, you will know that you are making. But if you are not sincere, then you are covered by Maya, illusion, false happiness. And then at the last moment, boom, and then you say, "What happened? Why nobody tell me?" Like that. So the Lord is kind to everyone. He's not like only kind to one person. No, He's equal to everyone. According to how you worship Him, He is going to respond also. Sama sarveshu bhuteshu. Sarva bhuteshu. So He's equal to everyone in the sense that He's like Paramatma. Whatever you want, I'll provide you. But for one who has bhakti, bhaktyamam avijana. So then he will reciprocate more closely with that person. But that's because there's bhakti or devotion with that. The whole criteria, the thread that holds is the bhakti principle.
So sometimes you see people progress a little bit and then they get fixed in a service and then the hearing and other things slacken off.
Yeah.
And
Well,
do
they
get service,
they
but
don't hear the right thing, they hear the wrong thing. And that's why they go down again, slacken off. It's not
they're
that.
doing the service, so the service should protect them.
No, it's not like that. You can do the service, but then if in the service you are prajalpa and offensive talks and so on, your consciousness will dip. Definitely.
Yeah.
Right? How can you say you won't affect you? You are such a advanced devotee, nothing affects you. Neophyte devotees, you place them in some situation, they do some service, they're happy in the beginning, but then all the time they see that the negativity or people always talk negative in a certain circle, then they also get affected.
That's so common. Prajalpa.
It is common, so therefore you have to grow up. Children will talk, right, and fight among them. But adults should be more mature and say, no, these are not important. Yeah. That's the difference between a Kanistha and a Madhyamadika. So if you want to be Madhyama, Prabhupada wanted us to be Madhyamadika, which means we know these are waste of time, let's not worry about all this thing. This material world is full of problems, so what's the point in pinpointing one problem on another? Okay, he has a problem, okay, let's work it out. Right? But we will highlight that from different angles of view. PowerPoint presentation.
Use scriptural basis.
Yeah, so that is not what the Lord is interested in.
To just move on. And
Yeah, we have to do what the Lord wants, not what we think is important. Prabhupada gives the analogy, right, that the bees will go for the nectar of a flower, whereas the flies will go to the stool. So, as a devotee, where's my consciousness? Is it a bee consciousness or is it a fly consciousness? We have to think like that. So as soon as your mind finds faults, you have to accept that you are a fly.
You are enjoying the stool.
Yeah. So immediately you have to say, okay, I have to stop this kind of thinking. It's not good for me. My spiritual life is going down.
The amazing thing is, it feels good being in the stool.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, like pigs.
Almost feel, getting some kind of satisfaction.
There is pleasure in everything. Even the worm in the stool is having pleasure eating the stool. So, but when we understand I am doing this, immediately you should refrain. Oh my God, how disgusting this is. Anyway, so basically the difference between a material devotee and a pure devotee is that a pure devotee is not desirous of any material enjoyment. Not at all. Not interested at all. At the same time, they are not against it at all also. They are only worried about pleasing Krishna. Whatever they see, oh, I can use it for Krishna. Oh, this looks very nice. Oh, let's put up something for Krishna. That's their consciousness. I can use it for preaching. They're not even thinking, oh, people say that I did a good job. No, not at all. We may calculate, oh, if I do that, then I'll put my name there, and then everyone will, I did it.
Yeah, it's like I realize Prabhu here, every time something big is accomplished, he's jumping on to the next one, not like waiting for accolades or anything. Or you don't see that. You see that just next.
So, so at the last paragraph, Prabhupada says, now a question arises. If the Lord is sitting in the hearts of non-devotees, why are they not moved to become devotees? People will ask, right? It may be answered that the stubborn non-devotees are like the barren land or alkaline field, where no agricultural activities can be successful. As part and parcel of the Lord, every individual living entity has a minute quantity of independence. And by misuse of this minute independence, the non-devotees commit offense after offense to both the Lord and his pure devotees engaged in missionary work. As a result of such acts, they become as barren as an alkaline field where there is no strength to produce. So, pure devotees here, Lord's pure devotees means anyone who is following in the footsteps of the pure devotee also. That means you're sincerely trying to do the instruction of your guru without your own concoctions. Say, okay, guru asks in the authorities, I'm doing it. That's a pure devotee. So if you commit offenses even to them, then you will suffer the consequence. So that's a very important point for us. If we do that, then the Lord is not interested in revealing himself. He doesn't reciprocate. He says, oh, why should I reciprocate this guy? He's more interested in his own senses, right, than my senses. If he wants to serve me, then why is he serving himself? Why should I even care about such person? Yeah? That's how it is. Now I'll just take care of him as through the material nature, based on his karma. So there's two ways the Lord takes care of us: through the material nature, or through directly himself. He'll come and intervene. So we can choose which path we want, how we want to reciprocate with the Lord. Most of the time, we like to reciprocate through the Lord, through the material energy. Because we feel more pleasure than but actually the pleasure is insignificant. So that's our confusion. Text 13. Pumsamato vivida karma viradvaradai.
Pumsamato vivida karma
Dhanena kogra tapasa paricharyaya cha.
Dhanena kogra tapasa paricharyaya cha.
Aradhanam bhagavata stava satkriyarto.
Aradhanam bhagavata satskriyarto.
Dharmorvita karhiche mriyate na yatra.
Dharmorvita karhiche mriyate na yatra.
But the pious activities of the people, such as performance of Vedic rituals, charity, austere penances, and transcendental service, performed with a view to worship you and satisfy you by offering you the fruitive results, are also beneficial. Such acts of religion never go in vain. So, when activities is performed for the Lord, then it becomes acceptable for the Lord. Even if it's based on some ritual charity. Basically, he's saying is you don't take the results. You can do it, but don't take the results. You can give it to me. So then Prabhupada explains what devotional service is. Absolute devotional service is conducted in 9 different activities: hearing, chanting, remembering, worshipping, praying, etc. Does not always appeal to people with a pompous nature. They are more attracted by the Vedic superficial rituals. That means a lot of extravaganza, pour ghee and fire, hoo-ha ceremony. They are more like, okay, I did something. More of passion. And other costly performances of social religious shows. It's a show, actually. Prabhupada mentioned. But the process, according to the Vedic injunctions, is that the fruits of all pious activities should be offered to the Supreme Lord. So that's the key behind it. Doesn't matter if you want to do big ceremony, it's okay. But give the offerings to the Lord, the results to the Lord. You don't take it and accept, say you want it. So it's not, that criteria must be understood. Okay, so you want to show off, fine, but give the results to the Lord. Because why? It will benefit you. So yeah, so therefore the verse akama, sarvakama, mokshakama, so it doesn't matter. Even if a person has desires, selfish desire, let them do some ceremony, but in the name of the Supreme.
So my daughter was saying, you always show up.
Telling you.
Okay. She's my mirror.
She's your mirror. So she's your guru in one sense. So you should say thank you and then
My wife says the same.
doesn't matter. You try to show off for Krishna. That way you that the tendency to show off will go away. You will use in the right way. So Prabhupada says if you can give things to Krishna, even though let's say you do something great, people are glorifying, you say no, it's actually blessing of Krishna. I want to give whatever I get to the Lord and his devotee, then that is considered devotional service. As soon as you cut yourself away from the enjoyment, it's devotional service when you give it to Krishna. So that is a matter of cultivation. It has to be practiced. It's not something suddenly one day you wake up and zap and then you can do it. It's not going to happen like that. It's not like that. Not at all. It's a matter of practice. It's a matter of convincing that I understand this, but I have certain issues with myself. So how am I going to clear that anartha? So association, practice, confidential discussion, enthusiasm, confidential discussion like that. So that way you clear the obstacles that are holding you back. Yes. So you follow in the footsteps of the previous acharyas.
But sometimes these devotional service itself seems insurmountable. There's so much to do.
No, that is your mind telling you. It is. It's your mind telling you it's so difficult. It's not difficult at all. We put the obstacles. Who's the obstacle in the whole process? We are the obstacle. I mean, if you go to all those, seminars and so on, right? They always tell you all these things. You can do it. You can do it. Right? But do what? Besides, you can dig your grave. Yeah, you can do it. But actually, that's the wrong focus. Focus should be you can do it for Krishna.
Yeah, do it
That
for Krishna.
Nike t-shirts do it.
Just
do
do
it.
it.
Just do it for Krishna.
That's Prabhupada's saying. Yeah, just do it for Krishna. Or anyone who is connected to Krishna, you do it for them. It's nothing wrong. It hasn't, as a neophyte, we always think has to be either Krishna or Guru, and that's it. Anyone else, get the hell out. I'm not going to do it for them. That's how we feel. But actually, that's wrong. That attitude has to change first. Then you become humble. Yeah. Now, once you say, "Oh, this person is doing it, I'll support him." So what? Like maybe this year you were the big guy, the big honcho, doing all the what? Anand Mela. Okay. So next year you say, "No, I want to serve this person. Let the person do it," and then you enthusiastically serve. Then people who see you will say, "Wow, last year she was doing it. This year she's serving. Wow, this is a nice example." So then there's no enmity development. Other loving exchanges will spontaneously come up. It will come up, but you have to believe in that. What you laughing? Right, so that's how we try to, align our desires with the Lord's and His pure
That
devotees.
was nice. Even small things, if we do like that personally, can help us. Just even a small thing, it doesn't have to be okay. I'm going to, maybe I was taking some service from him. Now I'm going to serve.
Yeah, you can do that.
Something like
Yeah.
that. It can be a simple thing, but I was thinking that actually
Maybe you see one devotee's car is dirty all the time, so one night you go there and clean his car. I'm just saying it. Like that. So you do service for that person.
So for this last Ananda Mela, we were having a booth serving some prasadam, and I took over most of the frozen boxes.
Mm.
There was a lot of animosity. We need the boxes, but then I have all my stuff in there. So there is that kind of,
Yeah, so next year you get 2 wet freezers. So you don't have that issue.
not too probably. We have all freezers taken over by one.
Anyway, that's my point. You know you can anticipate next year. So you say, okay, that's fine because there was no choice. Then let's do more freezers like that. See the positive, like it's growing big.
Yeah, it is growing.
Yeah. And instead of saying, oh, we lost this and that means you're still thinking my thing was reduced. Yeah, my boot, it's not yours. I shall give you a boot. All right, text
It was
14.
like Prabhu asking.
Sasvat Swarupa Mahisaiva Nipita Veda
Sashvat Swarupa Mahasaiva Nipita Veda
Mohaya Bodha Dishanaya Nama Parasmai
Mohaya Bodha Vishanaya Namah Parasmai
Vishvod Bhava Sthiti Layeshu Nimitta Leela
Vishvodbhava Sachitayeshu Nimitta Leela
Asayate Namaidam Chakrimeshwaraya
Rasayate Namahidam Chakrameshwaraya.
Let me offer my obeisances unto the Supreme Transcendence, who is eternally distinguished by His internal potency. His indistinguishable impersonal feature is realized by intelligence for self-realization. I offer my obeisances unto Him who, by His pastimes, enjoys the creation, maintenance, and dissolution of the cosmic manifestation. So now he's praying to the Lord at first, and now he is paying obeisance. So from verses 14 till 19, he's going to offer obeisance to the Lord. And here he says in the prayers, he says, unto Him who by His pastimes enjoys the creation, maintenance, and dissolution of God. So for him it's a pastime where he's enjoying. Remember we discussed, Maharaj discussed in the Brahma Samhita how he's actually having with his internal potency, Rama. So that's how he is exhibiting his pastimes. He's enjoying this creation, maintenance, and dissolution. At the same time, because he's enjoying actually, at the same time, it's for us, our creation is a side thing. So that we can enjoy, so-called enjoy this material. So the main thing is he's enjoying doing all this, but the side thing is we are put into this material universe where we can pretend to be happy. Yeah, so pretentious. Everyone pretends.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Did Maharaj was mentioning in the lecture, right, that the creation and all this is just as a compassion for the living beings.
Yes, it
But
is also a
then
compassion.
how is Vishnu then enjoying the creation and maintenance? Because he's enjoying with his internal potency, Ramadevi. Then,
Yes.
like, at the same time, then how is it enjoyment for him?
Because he'll come down and participate with his devotees, different relationship. So he is always enjoying. He's always enjoying. There's never a time where he doesn't enjoy. So even creating this, he's smiling. If you read previously, when he saw all the jiva's karma is accumulating and they want to punch out, he smiles a little bit. Okay, let them come out. So everything is enjoyment for the Lord. So it's wrong to think the Lord sometimes is not enough. But He may show compassion, He may show some unhappiness. But those are again His pastime. He's always enjoying. And if you really want to know how he's enjoying, you go to Goloka. That's how he's enjoying. He's always playing around with the cows, messing around with the old ladies, kicking pots of milk or yogurt, doing some nonsense. I mean, from our point of view, it looks like nonsense, but they all enjoy it. And then he's smiling, right?
Or can we say that about the pure devotees also? They're always enjoying in the same way, even if we.
The pure devotees depends on where the situation is. If they are in the eternal realm, yeah. If they are here, placed here, then they are enjoying internally, but at the same time they are feeling more. Their role is for the compassion.
Compassion.
Yes.
So they are feeling the compassion
Yes.
for outside,
More.
but they are.
Yeah.
We
You
can
think
say-
they want to stay here?
No, they are saying that for obviously for.
For the Lord's pleasure,
Lord's
they are.
pleasure.
Yes, they are here. Otherwise, they will also want to be with him.
Yeah.
Because you can see when the devotees asked Prabhupada, right? Please stay back. He said, I'll have to ask Krishna.
Yeah.
Whatever he desires. So you can see they are only thinking about Krishna's pleasure, not this or that.
So
Well, in one
it's-
sense, they are internally. They
Yes.
are thinking.
Internally, they are in the pastime. Yes, they are.
How are you? Sorry to bother you. Are you guys getting out paper here?
Paper, newspaper.
So how do we understand that?
Prabhupada said one time newspaper to a newspaper reporter, he said, so many news you read, and then after you finish reading, you throw away. He said, our book, Bhagavad Gita, has been read for 5,000 years, and still people are benefiting from it. Which is better?
We covered that last week. It was more of the first.
Is that right? Yeah.
And the newspaper with giving news is already old.
You were saying.
So sometimes devotees are also suddenly taken away for a different service, like Kamal Krishna Maharaj.
Yeah, that is between the Lord and the devotee. Yeah. So sometimes the devotee also don't want to stay here too much also. Right? They've done, and then the Lord will say, no, stay and do something. They'll do that. And they say, they want to go back. And the Lord say, keep staying. And they say, Lord, I can't anymore. And they say, okay, you do this and I'll take you back. Like that. So they also have their rasa with the Lord. When it's done, okay, I'll go. It is said like that also in the case of Abhimanyu, when he was told to come down. His father said, I can't be separate from him for too long. And the Lord said, don't worry, after his pastime will be quick and he'll come back. So he got killed when he was young. So he's the son of moon god. Like that. So there are reasons. And so the Lord. So in the purpose, Srila Prabhupada says, Lord Brahma, indirectly, Lord Brahma offers his respectful obeisances onto Lord Sri Krishna, who's factually ever engaged in rasa enjoyment with the gopis, as confirmed in the Gopala Tapani Upanishad in the following words. Parardante so buddhyata gopavesho me purusha purastad avirbhavuva. So there you go, he's enjoying. So because who's Brahma? Brahma has a relationship with the cowherd boy Krishna. So when he is praising, he is saying you are always enjoying. And his expansions are doing the creation, maintenance and annihilation. So he is referring to Krishna indirectly. So, but in both cases, the Lord is always enjoying.
It was just related. I heard this. Maybe you can clarify it. When
Right.
somebody asked Prabhupada, you faced so many difficulties before, initially. Prabhupada said it was a love fight. It was a love fight between Krishna. Is that true? I heard it somewhere.
I can't confirm that, I didn't know, but I've heard it also. Well, actually, Prabhupada referred to his stay in Vrindavan, but he had so many difficulties. And later on, he said those are all his ecstasy.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
It's just,
So that he said that verse also, Tattena Kampam Susamachana. So based on that, he saw all those as ecstatic ecstasies. Now that he thinks about it, it's just like Kunti Devi also says, right? When I think of all that, I wish those calamities will happen again and again because she is in ecstasy. Yeah.
That's what I was thinking about when you were saying and always enjoying. I was thinking the pure devotee is facing so many external difficulties, but actually internally is always
No, at
enjoying.
that moment they are actually facing those things, and then after that they will say that was a good fight. Like
For
Yeah,
example, Jew temple.
Jew temple, Prabhupada just said that was a good fight.
yeah.
And Prabhupada was so worried about so many things, right?
For Krishna.
Huh?
I'm just saying that
For
yeah,
Krishna.
For Krishna.
Anxiety for Krishna.
Devotee asked Prabhupada like,
He was so angry and so he was shouting at his disciples, everybody.
Yeah.
But it was for Krishna. Then after when the whole thing was settled, he said that was a good fight. Like that. So then you look in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, right? First chapter, I can't remember. He said for the Kshatriyas, happy are the Kshatriyas when the fight comes, right? Opportunity the fight comes. Then you can reflect how the devotees are like that. So when they can do service for Krishna, they become very happy. Text 15, right? Yasyavatara gunakarma vidambanani
Yasyavatara gunakarma vidambanani
namani yesu vigame vivashagrananti
namani yesu vidamani vashagrananti
tenaika janma shamalam sakasaiva hitva
tenaika janma shamalam sakasaiva hitva
samyanti apavittamritam tamajam prapadye
samyanti apavritam vitam tamajam prapadye.
Let me take shelter of the lotus feet of him whose incarnations, qualities and activities are mysterious imitations of worldly affairs. One who invokes his transcendental names, even unconsciously, at the time he quits this life, is certainly washed immediately of the sins of many, many births and attains him without fail. So amazingly, Brahma is giving us so many things that we have read about in the Bhagavad Gita.
Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah. So the Lord's incarnations, qualities, activities are mysterious. And that is a fact. We can't really truly, completely understand unless He reveals Himself. And particularly here, Brahma is saying imitations of worldly affairs. So you can see sometimes He comes down. In Dwaraka, he is acting like a grihasta, like an ordinary henpecked husband. Prabhupada writes like that. But not really, but he is just acting like that. But that is also amazing and mysterious. What is he doing like that? It's inconceivable sometimes when you think about it. But that's how he does it. He does it, and when he does it, we cannot understand how he's doing it. And he carries the Govardhan here with his pinky, when he's like 7-year-old boy, just like that. Amazing. How can anyone do that?
Holding umbrella.
Like
Like a child holding an
like a child holding an umbrella.
A child plugged there.
mushroom.
So all this, if you think about it, it's just amazing. How can he do it? So Prabhupada says in the purport, his acts in his incarnations and his partiality to devotees are all imitations only, just like the stage makeup of an expert dramatical player. His acts in that capacity, however, are all omnipotent, and the remembrance of such activities of the incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is as powerful as the Lord Himself. There is no difference, even though it looks like an imitation of an ordinary person. But it's very potent that He can actually deliver you or take you out of this material entanglement. So that's why we always, every year we talk about the pastime, same pastime. And we don't get bored about it, we get more excited. If you feel bored, then you have to.
Then you know you have a problem.
Then you have a problem.
You're not going to see.
Either not progressing or you have a problem.
You're not progressing.
So you have to do something about it. So then the other thing is, at the time of death, right? Antakale Chanam Jesus. Okay. Good. So whatever you remember at the time of death, that's going to be the next place. Yam Yamba Bismaram. So it's going to pull you towards this or that. But if you can think of the Lord or even chant His name like a Jamil, then whoa, so much wonder. It's if you carefully study Ajamil's life, he was terrible. He not just sinful, he killed, he murdered people and so on. And so, regardless of that, you can see he chanted the Lord's name and he was zoomed. The Vishnudutas came in and said, "Hey, hold it." To the Yamaraj, So yeah, he said, hold it, guys. He's not going anywhere. They're like, what do you mean? No, he's not going anywhere. So that was a shocker for them, right? They had to go and check with the Yamaraj. And Yamaraj said, confirm, yeah. He said, just stay away from those blue dudes.
Those dudes, they
Because they're on a different level. First time the Yamadutas hear about them. First time we see these beautiful people, they have so much power.
Yeah.
So we can see that the Lord's potency is real. It's factual in that case. And so we shouldn't take it for granted. And we shouldn't chant the name of the Lord in vain. Yeah. We should chant it sincerely. Yeah. So therefore, whatever the Lord does, even His name, everything is potent. So if you think daily, every day you think of one pastime. There's so many pastimes in the Krishna book, right? There are about 90 chapters, right, in the Krishna book. So every day you can remember one. So 3 months gone when you finish the Krishna book. Then you continue again, which is how the pastimes even in Krishna's planet goes. Huh? So read every day. Every day. If you don't know the pastime, then you have a problem. Right? Like some pastime, little info here and there. Okay, he killed this and that. But then what happened? How many days did he fight Jarasandha? How many times like that? How big? How much gold did Chamandaka jewel produce per day? Do you know that? See, you all don't know. There's all these calculations that Prabhupada gives in the story. And who did Krishna fight first? And the second time, who did he fight again? Do you know that? During that, and how many queens did he marry? Everyone knows the number. So what are his 8 principal queens? Do you know that? Don't know. So you have to know all these things. Then you know Krishna. At least know something of Krishna. Yeah. Then your mind will be busy trying to know Krishna. Won't be busy finding faults. Anyway,
even verses is the same experience.
Same experience. If
Just
you
memorizing the verses,
your mind before when you go to sleep, you are still chanting. When you wake up, the verses will come. Right? I told you, right? So if you keep doing this every day, it's a very pleasing, pleasant experience.
Especially Nityagan Prabhu's voice is ringing.
No, is that right?
He recorded it. He recorded it.
He's God. You go back to God. Oh, you go back to where he's going. Yeah, he's going back to God. Text 16. Yovaham cha girishascha vibhu swayam cha.
Yovaham cha girishascha vibhu swayam cha.
Sthityudbhavas pralaya hitava atma moolam.
Sthityudbhavas pralaya hitava atma moolam.
Vidva dvipava vridayeka Uruprarohas
Hitva
Tasmai Namo Bhagavate Bhuvanadrummaya.
Tasmai Namo Bhagavate Bhuvanadrummaya.
Your Lordship is the prime root of the tree of the planetary systems. This tree has grown by first penetrating the material nature in 3 trunks, as me, Shiva, and you, the Almighty, for creation, maintenance, and dissolution, and we 3 have grown with many branches. Therefore, I offer my obeisances unto you, the tree of cosmic manifestation. Talk about tongue twisters. So here, Prabhupada lets us understand how this is. So first he says the cosmic manifestation is grossly divided into 3 worlds, the upper, lower, and middle planetary systems. How many are there? 14 planets. So he says, and then it broadens into the cosmos of 14 planetary systems with the manifestation of Supreme Personality of Godhead as the supreme root. How is it the supreme root? So he is actually the source of the whole thing. No? From his lotus, everything is coming out. And this lotus flower is expected. Alright, material nature, which appears to be the cause of the cosmic manifestation, is only the agency or energy of the Lord. Okay, and Prabhupada gives a quote from Bhagavad Gita, Maya Dekshena Prakriti Suyate Sachara. It's an important verse because there Krishna says it's only under my direction. Okay, my direction. Not that it's doing on its own. I infuse it with the potency to do something. Otherwise, you can't do any of these things. Okay? Then the Lord expands into 3. This 3 is the Guna avatars, Gunas. Okay, so Vishnu, Brahma, and Shiva for maintenance, creation, and destruction, respectively. And they are also taking charge of the 3 modes of the material nature. And Prabhupada again says Vishnu is the Almighty, meaning he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even though he is within material nature for the purpose of maintenance, he is not controlled by the laws of material nature. Okay, so where does he reside? Sridhari. Okay. The other 2, Brahma and Shiva, although almost as greatly powerful as Vishnu, are within the control of the material energy of the Supreme Lord. The conception of many gods controlling the many departments of material nature is ill conceived of by foolish pantheists. There's only some, not all. God is one without a second, and he is the primal cause of all causes. So Prabhupada is saying only God is the main person. Everything else is under his department heads. Due to poor fund of knowledge, the impersonalist does not believe in the personal management of things as they are. Makes a lot of sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because impersonalists don't believe in any personality, so then they cannot understand there can be somebody managing it. No personal man, they don't even manage their life properly. But in this verse, it is clearly explained that everything is personal and nothing is impersonal. Yeah, because he says it's managed by the 3 of them for creation, maintenance, and dissolution. The tree of material manifestation is described in the 15th chapter. You know, the upside down Aswatha tree. And Prabhupada says we have actual experience of such a tree when we see the shadow of a tree on the bank of a reservoir of water. The reflection of the tree on the water appears to hang down from its upward roots. The tree of creation described here is only a shadow of the reality which is Para-Brahman. Para-Brahman is the Supreme Lord. In the internal potential manifestation of the Vaikuntha Lokas, the actual tree exists. And the tree reflecting the material nature is only the shadow of this actual tree. Basically, this is a poor imitation of the spiritual world. It's a like a facsimile imitation. Perverted. It's a copy, a bad copy.
It's the verse in Chaturshloki that we Maya definition of Maya. It's amazing. It's reflection in that.
It's a reflection, yeah?
Yeah, that reflection appears to be in that.
Amazing.
That reflection which appears to be in that.
Yes, appears
Shadow,
to,
that means
appears to be.
shadow.
It's a shadow. Baba gives that. So Prabhupada says, even if people say the impersonalist theory that Brahman is void of all variegatedness is false because the shadow tree described in Bhagavad Gita cannot exist without being the reflection of a real tree. You can't have a shadow if there's no real, you can't have a reflection if there's nothing there, right? So that's what he's saying. The real tree is situated in the eternal existence of spiritual nature, full of transcendental varieties. So Prabhupada's point is, we all are actually taking some form because there is real form in the spiritual world. Otherwise, how this form came about, right? There must be some, as you know, when you read the Brahma Samhita, it's a prototyping and all that. So similarly, there must be some blueprint, something like that. Exactly. So therefore, the impersonalists have a problem. How we came about, why this feature? Then they have to go for Darwin's theory. And then Prabhupada makes this statement. The real tree is situated in the eternal existence of spiritual nature, full of transcendental varieties, and Lord Vishnu is the root of that tree also. The root is the same, the Lord, both for the real tree and the false. It's true. Where is the material energy coming from? From the Lord Himself. So it is an inferior energy, but it's still coming from the Supreme Lord. It is actually His energy. Okay? It's His energy. And that's what it is. We have to understand that everything is actually Krishna in one sense, but they are all transformed differently in different places. The Lord being the real tree is here offered obeisances by Brahma on his own behalf and also on behalf of Lord Shiva. Text 17. Loko vikarma nirata kushale pramatta.
Loko vikarma nirata kushale pramatta.
Karmaniyayam tvat uditte bhavat archane sve.
Karmaniyayam tvat uditte bhavat archane sve.
Yastavarasya balavani jivitasham.
Yastavarasya balavani jivitasham.
Sadhya chinnati animishaya namastu tasmai.
Sadhya chinnati animishaya namastu tasmai.
People in general all engage in foolish acts, not in the really beneficial activities enunciated directly by you for their guidance. As long as their tendency for foolish work remains powerful, all their plans in the struggle for existence will be cut to pieces. I therefore offer my obeisances unto Him who acts as eternal time. So basically everyone is going after sense gratification. And sense gratification is not what the teachings of the Lord is. How do we understand the teachings of the Lord? The teachings of the Lord is described in His scriptures and by His devotees. Yeah. So that's how we understand. So, and directly He comes and speaks, just like in the Kurukshetra, or when he spoke directly to the sun god like that. So there are many ways the Lord directly, or when he spoke as Lord Shankarshan to the Sanat Kumara like that. So it's for the guidance of mankind, just like that. Huh?
As Vedas. As
Veda Vyas also. Yeah. But we all have a tendency to do what we want to do, right? And you may say why we can't do. Then for example, how many of you, and I've said this many times, when your father tells you don't do something, then you say yes, I won't do. But as soon as your father goes away, you did it, right? Why you did it, even though you know you shouldn't do? You had the intelligence you're not supposed to do, but you did it anyway. So it's like that. The living entities, like they have a tendency to do these foolish things. Huh? It's last only Arjuna. Yeah, that's in the material. So it's very powerful. This tendency to do what we want to do because of our ego also. The other point with the ego is you cannot accept the position of the Supreme Lord. How can he be God? Why he is God? Why is he so powerful? Why I also got intelligence. I also make good decisions. So we think like that. So therefore we create unnecessary problems. So therefore when we don't accept the reality, which is the material nature that is so powerfully trying to hold the jiva into different situations based on his desires and karma, if we don't understand all that, then no matter what plans we do, we'll definitely going to fail. Right? How many times in your life you plan something but it never happens? So many. And then you accept and move on, right?
And even in devotional activities, we make plans sometimes they are not material.
Yeah, but then when we don't feel the difference, the situation is in when we are doing it materially, consciousness, then we feel so devastated. Yeah. But when we do it something for everything, we can understand the Lord didn't want it. But if you are completely a devotee, then you know everything is under the Lord's hand. So we do it the best as we can. Yeah. And not attached to the results. That's the difference. When you attach to the result, you become very unhappy when you don't get it.
So people who do not accept the Supreme Lord, at the same time they accept superiors, right? When they have a manager or manager, so they do accept that.
They accept an authority based on their senses. See, the authorities are titillating their senses, giving them some enjoyment, but they can't see God doing that, so they cannot accept that. Right? The guy is giving me bonus, so I must be happy.
Must be happy.
Exactly.
Just like demigod worshippers.
Huh?
Just like demigod worshippers.
Yeah, they get something and they are happy. Yeah. Something you throw a bone to a dog is happy. Correct or not? You keep all the meat and then you throw the bone and still happy. So it's like that, our situation. We get some pittance and some semblance of enjoyment. And we think, oh, it's so great.
Like if you ask an average person in an average company, why are they working? You have to work. That's why you're working. There's nothing beyond this.
Nobody will work with business.
Well,
nobody will work with business salary.
No, hang on.
But you have to work some work, right?
Reality is
you want to do something.
Reality is you must work in this material world. Yeah. But you are not supposed to be attached to the results. So work is okay. It's just that you have to understand how much one work for one sense enjoyment. Essentially, Krishna's point is you cannot enjoy everything that you get in this material world. Everything must be given as an offering unto me, Madarpanam. So then he says, whatever you get, I will purify that activities. Then you don't have the reaction for enjoying. So that has to be properly understood. So when you go and tell people don't work, then they'll think you're crazy.
No, we're not saying anything. It's just that perception, right?
No, perception. We should also have to, when we are out there talking, we cannot make it such that people think we are against work. That thing shouldn't be there. We are not against work. We want people to work, but we want them to put within their life, God is the center. Everything depends on the Lord. So which is what Brahma is trying to say. Most of them people are engaged in foolish acts. Because why is it foolish? It has no
Spiritual benefit.
no benefit at all. It's temporary actions.
Inevitable destruction.
Yeah. So therefore, he says this is foolish. You have to be a fool to do that. And so, for us, we understand now this what we have been doing previously was foolish. Otherwise, we are also just like go with the lemmings, right? Go with the lemmings. You know what lemmings are? Or go with the flow, right? So it's important to understand these things properly. Foolish acts, because if average person who reads that, why is it foolish? I'm saving some people's life. I'm a doctor like that. What is wrong with that? They may think. So we have to clarify what we mean by foolish acts also. Because ultimately, if it's not connected to the law, then your act is just another act in the world which has no long-term benefits for your spiritual life.
So even in India, there's the concept of understanding karmanyavadhikara.
They only read the first part.
But it's So even that is foolish, but it's it's some dharma. It is dharma to some extent.
It's not.
Swadharma.
It's incomplete dharma.
Yeah.
So how is it dharma?
Yeah.
Right? You understand? Therefore, you can't call it dharma. If you're not going to, it's like the Prabhupada gives the story of this man who was he was selling eggs. So one day he was thinking only the back part of the chicken is laying egg. The front part is only giving me a lot of botheration. So he cut the head of the chicken, thinking the back part will still lay eggs. But then obviously the chicken died. So that is the same philosophy. These people half-hand logic. Kukuta. Ardham. Kukuta. So when people talk, they only quote the first part.
Yeah.
Oh, that's I'm doing my duty. Yeah, but what does it say? What does it say? Please continue.
Continue.
I know this one.
Please don't continue the verse.
Yeah, please continue the verse. Yeah, you can ask them. So many people quote. All the time they quote this.
All the time.
Then you bring out the Bhagavad Gita. It's okay, now read the second part of what Krishna said. Then you just tap down or something. Now you know. Then you tell them about the half-hand logic. You want to be that or you want to be a full person? You say it in a nice way, they have to accept, swallow their pride and walk away with their tails between their legs. Yeah. They have to, because it's very, very real. So, and then the other one, Prabhupada says, as he says, everyone is doing senseless work. They are systematically unmindful of the real beneficial work, which is devotional service of the Lord, technically called the Archana regulations. Now, most people don't know what Archana is at all. All they know is do some ghee lamp in front of the Lord, agarbatti, and that's it. Right? Most people at home just do some agarbatti once a week or maybe once a year like that. They do. Or when they feel like it, they go. But that's not Archana. Devotional service means you're always wanting to do that on time. Just like you eat breakfast and lunch, dinner on time. Right? It's the same thing. For the Lord, this Archana system is on time. It must be done on time. Everything is based on time. Deity worship means you must be very timely, punctual. So therefore, in one sense, it's the same as that if you're not timely, you're not taking the Lord seriously. So then your actions behind it, like in this case, what is that? A foolish word, as long as the tendency of foolish word remains powerful, all your plans in the struggle for existence will be cut to pieces because time will come and destroy whatever you are planning, useless. The same way, if you don't serve the Lord timely, then you are actually being offensive to Him. So Archana regulations are directly instructed by the Lord in the Narada Pancharatra and are strictly followed by the intelligent men who know well what the highest perfectional goal of life is, to reach Lord Vishnu, who is the root of the tree called the cosmic manifestation. And then you have that famous verse by Prahlad Maharaj, the three verses. Persons who are determined to totally rot in false material happiness cannot become Krishna-minded either by instructions from teachers, by self-realization, or by parliamentary discussions, which happens in India. That's why Prabhupada put that. They are dragged by the unbridled senses into the darkest region of ignorance, and thus they madly engage in what is called chewing the tube. Chewing the tube means you've already done that, but you foolishly go back to do it again. No? Sometimes you see that, you know it's going to hurt you. Sometimes you see little children are like that, right? They touch something, it hurts. Then they go again. They will do that. Or some foolish person will keep doing it. They go somewhere, their friends tell, don't go there, there are bad things there. But because there's something they want to taste, so they go there. And then they get beaten up, but they get something to taste. Like that. Or the other thing is, Prabhupada gives the example of a donkey. At the end of the day, the donkey comes to the she-donkey and tries to have sex. And then the she-donkey kicks him in the face terribly. And he's still thinking, there's some enjoyment there. So puna charvita charvananam. And then because of their foolish activities, these are all verses quoted in the 7th canto. They are unaware that the ultimate goal of life, human life, is to achieve Vishnu. Swarta Gatim Hi Vishnu. The Lord of the cosmic manifestation. So their struggle for existence is in the wrong direction of material civilization, which is under the external energy. They are led by similar foolish persons. See, Prahlad Maharaj is so smart. He knows why people are doing, because leaders are also foolish. Just as one blind man is led by another blind man and both fall in the ditch. It's a fact, no? We vote for fools and we follow the fools and we die like fools.
Because they are giving them a separate point of what is real selfishness. People want to be selfish. They want to, I want, for me. But Bharata is saying, for me, the real self-interest is that. So, do it for yourself.
Yes.
If you really want to do it for your real self.
That's how it should be. And then finally, Prahlad Maharaj says, such foolish men cannot be attracted towards the activities of the Supreme Powerful. They cannot be attracted, who is actually the neutralizing measure for their foolish activities, unless and until they have the good sense to be guided by the great souls who are completely free from material attachment. That's why we go out on book distribution, or we try to give prasadam out there, so that we can at least, hopefully, they will reduce or neutralize their foolish activities, so that they have some intelligence. That's the reason why we do all that. So that they can at least come back to the Lord.
One other thing is, it takes a pretty long time to experiment and understand these things. So people want quick answers also.
Yeah, but if they are suffering, then they should be able to understand clearly that whatever they are doing is actually causing them a lot of suffering. Actually, when you are really, really contaminated, it's very hard to understand philosophy. So the best way is to give them prasadam for a while. Maybe it takes 1 to 10 years, then their intelligence will grow. It's not going to be so easy. So you will find sometimes you may have a very good answer, you think it's so good. Then this guy will look at you and say, what are you talking about? And you are like, I worked with that person, didn't work with this. That's because the guy is so much, he doesn't have the adhikar. doesn't have the qualification. So you give them the qualification by giving them prasadam and praying for them. That's the difference between a devotee and a non-devotee. Non-devotee will pray for the person to go to hell, but a devotee will pray for the person to come out of the hell. So that's the difference.
Sometimes it takes a lot of time to realize that you are suffering a lot.
Yes.
Doesn't understand.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
They don't
you
understand.
also need the protection from devotees. So I go to the devotee, listen. One day you will strike something. Then you will think all of a sudden, why I didn't understand this? Because you are not qualified. Sometimes you are below a certain level. Like the grading, right? You can only get entry into university be a certain percentage like that. So even to understand the spiritual side, you must have certain qualification. You must have some piety also to be able to understand scriptures. Yeah. It's not like everyone. The amazing thing is Prabhupada is giving it to everyone, open. So you are part of that. So we give prasadam, and we pray that they can come to the standing.
I once gave a book to one person. He read this quote somewhere. The world is a miserable place. And he said, no, the world is not a miserable place. He gave me the book.
Anyway, he read it, so it'll strike one day.
One day, maybe hopefully.
One day it'll hit him, boom,
He
it
read
is
it
a
very
miserable
quickly,
place. It is. Sometimes we want a dramatic effect. It may take a long time. The medicine, when you inoculate, sometimes it takes a long time to fight the germs. It'll take a while. You did your job. You don't have to worry whether he becomes in this life a devotee. Maybe it'll take him 100 lifetimes before but because you gave him that book and he read one sentence, that will have an effect.
Prabhupada said, even if they touch my books.
Yes, because it's non-different from Krishna. Yeah.
If they touch the book.
Yeah. So it will take time. But we are not. Say again, what Krishna says, do your duty, but don't be attached to the results. So you give, and the guy gave back and said, did you read something? Yeah, good. I'm so happy you read it. And I'm also sad that you couldn't read anymore, but that's okay. Take some prasad. Here, some cookies. Like that. We all should see the positive and then just pray for him. Krishna, I did, and now he's in your hands. Because I did my job. What else can I do? If Krishna tells you something else, then you have to do that something else. But our position should be to help Krishna and his devotee. So unless you become a devotee, you cannot get the adhikar to even go back to Godhead. So there's no scope of talking about Krishna, Goloka and all. Yeah, you can dream on. It doesn't. We have to come to a certain standard. And what is that standard? Doing sadhana bhakti, then getting qualified, going on the altar, doing service at the temple, doing all kinds of service. Not just only do one service. You have to go do more. The more and more you do by the time you are 60 years old, then you should know. And then when your body is not cooperating, then you can't do service. Then you will hanker for service. But if you retire now when you are young, then you won't have the taste for service. It's not going to be effective in the long run.
So I didn't get the last point. If I retire now, you won't get the taste for service?
Yeah.
So,
Correct.
but if you wait too long, then the body will not have capacity.
Then you'll hanker for that service, right? And then the Lord may intervene and make sure your body won't fail. If you have a body and not use it, then what's the use of having the body? Then best you become an animal in the next life. So, no, it's a fact. You have to think like that. If I can do service, I should do service, because the opportunity for not doing service is greater, particularly with all this Medicare terrible thing going on. So if we get sick, we won't get cured easily. Right? So think carefully like that. So I think we can stop here for now, right? Prashadam's ready, right? Okay, then we can stop and start in within an hour or 1 hour 10 minutes like that. Okay.
150.
Yeah, either 145, 150 will start. Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.